which Christopher Columbus is redeemed by people who go back to try to undo the harm that he caused, usually inadvertently, and replace it with great benefits to the whole world. That was my last time travel story. Why would I do another? I'd covered it. It was done. But this time I thought, I know all the time travel rules, all the paradoxes. I read Heinlein's All You Zombies. I've read all the time travel stories that try to avoid time travel paradoxes, or where the time travel heals itself so that you can't change anything, or the butterfly effect so that you step on an insect when you take your time travel back to the dinosaur era, and when you come back, there are changes all over the place, but you don't notice them because that's the world you grew up in after all. Things like that. Great ideas, wonderful stories, most of them from the 1940s and 50s, because that's when the science fiction writers were thinking of all the cool ideas. And why would I think I could compete with that? Well, I'm not competing with that. In this series, I'm taking all the rules and breaking every one of them. I'm finding metaphysical reasons why it works, but I just was having fun. I was playing with it. And so, as I came up with Rigg and Umbo, the older brother of the kid who fell and died, and then later Rigg's younger sister that he never knew he had, stuff happened that I was not prepared for. I began to develop a general idea that each wallfold, each place where the things were divided, there was a starship, and there was a person who was actually a robot that carried out the instructions of the ship, etc., etc., but all of those things were made up along the way. Now, the real problem was, with Pathfinder, I had done, I thought, a really good job of coming up with a cool time travel system, and it had an ending, and I loved it. And I still had 2 more books under contract. So what was the next book going to be about? I thought, okay, they're going to go into another wallfold, and I have them see the abandoned city that's there and meet the expendable, who is the robot who runs that place, and they find out there's nobody left. There are no humans in that wallfold, just the robot, and they find out why. And that was what opened the door for me. I had no plan for face masks in this book. Never crossed my mind. But I sure found a use for them. 2 kinds of them, as a matter of fact. But my crowning achievement, I'm going to say, was the mice. I love the mice. I love the way that Stefan Rudnicki reads the mice voices. I think it's way better than the voices of the mice in Cinderella, but it's also expressive of character, of culture. They became just delightful characters to me. I loved having them in the story. I loved how untrustworthy they were, how infuriating they were, but how human they were, how much they acted like real people. And so, as I listened to Ruins in the last few days, because I certainly wasn't going to come here with my faulty memory and talk about a book that I didn't remember well enough. So I listened to the whole thing. I listened to the brilliant audio production with the great readers who did the voices, Stefan Rudnicki, Emily Janice Rankin, and Kirby Hayborn, who are simply splendid. I found nothing wrong with anything they did, and more important, they brought the characters more alive to me in listening to it than they were when I wrote them. And I listened to it, and I realized this may very well be the only series I've written or even read where the second book is better than the first. And I'm in the middle of listening to the third book just because I want to see how it comes out. It's been a long time. So I hope that as you approach Ruins, you won't think of it as the middle book of a trilogy, because the middle book of a trilogy is like a slack wire between 2 poles. All the real acrobatics is going to go on where the rope is tighter. And you know that it's not going to really end because there's a third book. But in this case, I think I really do end it. There are things that come to real fruition. And there are personal issues among the characters that need to be resolved.